You guys, James Charles has found himself at the center of a really serious story that is going around on the internet right now. People are urging him to speak out and try and clear his own name from the situation, but his silence is speaking very, very loudly right now. We already know what kind of reputation James Charles has, and hearing this is not making things any better for him. So we are going to get into everything that is currently being said. You'd think with a reputation like his, James Charles would be steering clear of anything else that would bring his name down these days, especially when he is trying to push his brand Painted and try and make everyone forget what's ever been said about him. But recently, people have been made aware of some things that James might have been doing behind the scenes that has been getting him seriously questioned by the public once again. And I know hearing his name associated with another serious situation isn't exactly shocking at this point, but this one is a little different because this time it's not just about James doing something, it's about who he is allegedly supporting, possibly protecting, and much more. In order to understand what's going on, let's talk about what happened with TikTok creator Kayla Malik, the disturbing allegations she's made, and how James Charles has managed to put himself right in the middle of it. If you're not familiar with Kayla, she's a content creator on TikTok with millions of followers. She's made silly videos, she's collabed with Spencer's, she's been on Just Trish, she's collabed with James Charles, so you might have seen her before, but recently Kayla came forward with extremely serious allegations against her ex-boyfriend Evan Johnson, accusing him of DV during their relationship. Her story quickly spread across TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, you name it, with people rallying behind her, supporting her for coming forward and speaking out. Evan Johnson is a 20-year-old influencer. The two appeared to be a typical social media couple, posting together, sharing moments, and building an audience, but behind the scenes, according to Kayla, was a much darker reality. In Kayla's video opening up about what their relationship was really like, she gave a warning before telling her story in this 2-hour-long video. She ended up posting a part 2 that was also nearly 2 hours long. Days later, Evan was arrested. He was arrested for and violation of probation from prior offenses. He was released shortly after being booked. A few days after Kayla shared her story on YouTube, TikToker Zach Sellers posted a video series in support of Kayla, saying after she posted her video, his cousin actually opened up to him about the fact that she was also with Evan at one point in time in 2023, and though her story wasn't exactly like Kayla's, Zach says that his cousin opened up to him about experiencing similar behaviors from Evan during their time together.
Thank you, Kayla, if you ever are watching this, for coming forward. I know it was so hard, and you're a very strong woman, and I'm so sorry what you had to go through. But thank you, Kayla, for coming forward. Because not only that you came forward and you are spreading your story to help others, but just as you released that video, my cousin that lives here in our local town, I never knew that Evan and my cousin, were a thing/dating in February of 2023. And when you released your podcast, she opened up to me and called me and to family that it wasn't as harsh as what you went through, but there's a lot of things that she was by Evan.
He later explains that he personally knew Evan through modeling and being in the same town. He also noted that he is no longer associating with Evan, but when he was associated, he had video footage from back in February 2025 showing Evan addressing this situation before it really blew up right now. In this video that Zach shared publicly of Evan was basically responding to Kayla and some of the things that had been coming out about him. This was before she had posted her hour-long videos on YouTube, but things were being said, things were coming to light about him. It sounds like Evan was trying to say that they were both horrible to each other, trying to, shift some of the blame and downplay the accusations by framing the relationship as toxic from both sides.
So this video, part 1 of one of the videos he had me take back in February of him explaining his side of the story, and it will show you how badly manipulated I was, and the reason, I was there for him through the breakup, because how he had me manipulated so badly. After you guys, see all the parts and see these videos and receipts, y'all will definitely understand. And I also have text messages and stuff between me and him that are going to be coming out soon also.
I'm getting into modeling, right? And after that, she was hitting me up saying how much she misses me. Like, after we're broken up, I post like 2 little snippets of like, I'm getting into modeling, and this is my modeling buddy right here. And I was like, I'm getting into modeling, and then we text each other throughout the day, like how our day is going and stuff like that. I'm not manipulating her. I'm not like, I want you back or any of this. I'm like, I need to focus on myself. And she texts me. And people call that like trauma bond and stuff like that. The 9 months we were together, she said the whole 9 months I was abusing her, right? Why would we go out all the time and do all these crazy adventurous stuff if the whole time it was just terrible? If I was this terrible guy, why would she be with me? She could have left me at any second. She's way more up there than me. Has more money, like all this stuff. She don't need me. And if she figured I was no good for her in the time being, she would have left immediately. I promise you that. She exaggerates. And she figured out her views, or she's like, I need to make a series. I need to do something. And now that me and her are broken up, it's like, does she really love me? Like she's saying what she does behind the scenes to me, like I love you, I miss you, all this stuff behind the scenes, but then goes on there and tells you guys a whole different fantasy tale. I don't understand it.
Zach proceeds to share more videos where Evan seems to be defending himself, to which Zach says is complete manipulation of the situation. Zach says he is also currently working with a lawyer to get everything in line in this situation. He wants justice for Kayla, and so he has his receipts, he has videos, he's a bunch of things that he has in order all together, and he wants to see justice for Kayla. For a timeline, post-breakup, things were being said about Evan, like I said, and his relationship with Kayla, and people like Zach were being criticized for maintaining a friendship with Evan. The videos of Evan defending his name in the car were taken in February, and also in February, because Evan and Zach were still friends at the time, Zach is alleging that at the end of February, Evan paid a visit to James Charles. So while there were murmurs of things going around about him, he allegedly went to stay with James, and Zach knew this because he was still friends with Evan at the time. Now, though Zach can't share everything publicly just yet, he does share some things about James Charles, and he is referring to James as JC in this video.
Evan flew to California to see and stay with JC on February 28th. He stayed until March 3rd. He was supposed to come home on Sunday, but got talked into staying an extra night so they could have, one last night to, hang out and rest and just chill around the home. I know that just because I was in contact the whole time with Evan while he was in California, and I knew a lot of information at that time. I received a message from Evan while he was in California because he was already acting like he was all just the stuff pretty much, because who he was staying the night with multiple nights and whatever went on at JC's house. So the message, I do have everything, receipts, but the message that goes along with this was the lines of, this is coming from Evan. But since she has such a huge fan base, it's really hard to get my truth out. JC told me to be quiet as long as I can, no matter what. That come from Evan, and that was while he was in California.
Now, this is crazy to me because James has made content with Kayla, and I do know that there are people that make content together and they collab with each other and they don't even have one another's phone numbers and that they are not friends with each other. But from what Zach is saying, he is claiming that Kayla and James were friends. They were close. So for James to even just be with her ex is already side-eye behavior, but to be with her ex who was having things said about him, that's a whole other thing. I know Zach was saying he was manipulated by Evan and was still in conversation with Evan at the time because of things that Evan was saying to him, manipulating the situation, and he was, believing what Evan was saying. But when it comes to James, Zach was calling out the fact that he was friends with both Kayla and Evan. So for James to, be friendly with Evan while maintaining this friendship with Kayla and knowing some of the things that happened, hearing it from her allegedly, and essentially allegedly trying to take her man at the same time is just insane. And it's also another thing where it's if James was to say oh, I was manipulated by Evan and he was telling me one side of the story and I really believed him, it's the fact that even after Kayla's video recently that was posted, the fact that he hasn't come out to be I don't support Evan, it's just not sitting right with people. Is he still trying to be with Evan? What's the deal? Also, Evan is 20 years old, so why are we going down this path again for real? I mean, yeah, he's a legal adult, but I mean, really? Like, we don't need to be doing this, James. Like, I can't get with this pattern. And to make things worse, people are accusing James of deleting comments under his posts that mention the situation. Zach, in his videos, proceeds to call out James more and explain what James knew, allegedly.
Guys' biggest question is, how is JC involved with the Kayla and Evan situation? The reason that he's involved is because JC was already warned, told, and given information from Kayla the day that she broke up with Evan, that what he had done to her and how bad he was and how things got bad. There was a comment back to her, and it was along the lines, "Can I have him now?" Those lines were just, I guess she thought that was a joke, because, friends joke at that time. Kayla and JC have been friends. They've done, videos, collab together, and so on. So from that to him lying to Kayla, JC lying to Kayla and saying that he's not in contact with Evan, he doesn't speak to Evan, and a lot more stuff to that. When Evan went to California, there was a phone call. I was on the phone actually with Evan, and there was a phone call that JC received from Kayla and said, hey, like around the lines, not word for word, but it was around the lines of, hey, I know this is a weird question, but by any chance, is Evan with you? And JC comes back to Kayla and said, no, why would he be with me? During that time, they were sitting right beside each other, literally right beside each other. So at that time, he was lying to his best friend that she trusted, and lied and said that, he hasn't talked to him and he doesn't know anything why, Evan's in LA. Well, that's the point, is he was hiding this from Kayla because he didn't want Kayla to know. He did not want anyone to know. He didn't want any fans to know or anything, because he knew the story. Kayla opened up so much different information. I don't know exactly what she opened up and said to, JC, but he was well aware why they broke up. And then after they broke up, he went straight after Evan and had to, DM him.
Zach says he was even in conversation with James, allegedly, but has been so busy with Coachella that he just hasn't been able to sort out the situation. He just wanted Zach to take his videos down.
JC has reached out to me through DMs on Instagram. I have not posted any of that. One of those DMs, I have paperwork. I have to move that really fast. There's lots of paperwork. I have everything together. But one thing was, he said on Sunday. So he sent this on Sunday. The first video, I went, public with, not even 5 minutes. And he's like over here, like DMing me like all kinds of paragraphs and crazy stuff. And then I was confronting him like, bro, like I know everything. And now he knows that I know everything. And I feel like, that's why he's hushed up and, he's trying to keep everything like out of like the light. But he was saying, I'd really appreciate if you could take down your videos until we have an opportunity to talk. Sorry again, it took me so long to see your message. Coachella is the busiest time of the year for me.
He then straight up calls James out and urges him to come forward to speak on this.
So James, I'm calling you out. Let's talk about whenever we were in the car and you were FaceTiming, Evan all the time. You remember the time when you were just talking about how fat your AS was? You remember talking so badly and poorly about Kayla and pretty much hyping Evan up that he wasn't in the wrong, that he won out of this? Like, let's talk about the time when we were on FaceTime and then you hung up and then you sent a message on Instagram and says, I have a big surprise for you when you get home. Just remember, I went home with Evan, so I saw everything. You remember the photos you sent? Multiple photos.
We'll have to wait and see if he actually addresses any of this, but as of right now, he's remained silent, just like the advice he allegedly gave Evan. I'm sure he thinks that this will pass, but this is truly just another story that continues to just remind people of his character, unfortunately. I think a lot of people would have hoped that he would have changed his ways with age and time, but yeah, this is just not what people want to hear. So that is what has been said about James and his involvement in this entire situation. I want to know what you guys think about all of this. Let me know your thoughts. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.